Places on Earth where the laws of physics seem not to apply. Introduction. When the world stops making sense. Every culture has legends of places where the normal rules of reality seem to falter. Ancient travelers spoke of oceans that swallowed entire fleets, deserts where the horizon danced, and forests where men grew faint as if pressed by invisible hands. Today, in an age where science explains much of the unknown, some corners of Earth still appear to mock our understanding. These are not supernatural realms and fairy tales, but real sites you can visit. Stretches of highway where cars roll uphill, cabins where your body seems to change size, waterfalls that flow into nothingness, or landscapes so strange they look like another planet. Scientists often provide rational explanations, optical illusions, quirks of geology, or simple tricks of perception. Yet to stand in these places is to feel something deeper. The unsettling sense that the laws of physics, the very framework of reality, have loosened their grip. In the following journey, we will explore these puzzling spots across the globe. Some are rooted in clever perspective, others in rare natural phenomena, and a few remain mysteries with no satisfying solution. All of them remind us that the world is stranger than it first appears. The Oregon Vortex, United States, hidden in the forests of southern Oregon, is one of the most famous anomalous zones on Earth. The Oregon Vortex. Here, visitors report disorienting experiences. Walking into the tilted shack on site, people stagger as if gravity itself has shifted. A ball set on what looks like a sloping surface will roll upward. Tour guides demonstrate people changing apparent height simply by switching positions on a wooden platform. One person seems to shrink while the other grows taller. Scientists who investigated the site point to strong visual illusions created by the slanted construction and the absence of a reliable horizon. Our brains use environmental cues to interpret vertical and horizontal lines. When those cues are manipulated, the brain's sense of balance falters. Still, many insist that what they feel is more than trickery. Some describe nausea, vertigo, or even a sense of pressure, as if an unseen force really tugs at them. Whether illusion or anomaly, the Oregon Vortex leaves visitors doubting their senses, which is precisely why it fascinates travelers to this day. The Mystery Spot, California, United States. In the redwood forests near Santa Cruz lies the Mystery Spot, discovered in 1939. Like the Oregon Vortex, it is a small area, just 150 feet in diameter, where bizarre effects occur. Balls appear to roll uphill. People lean at impossible angles without falling, and compasses spin unpredictably. Guides invite visitors to stand on specific spots where their apparent height changes dramatically when compared to another person. The explanations given are varied. Some invoke warped gravitational fields, others claim geomagnetic disturbances. Most physicists, however, attribute the phenomenon to a clever manipulation of perspective, aided by tilted structures that fool the eye. What makes the Mystery Spot enduring is not only the illusion, but the visceral feeling it provokes. Visitors report a strange heaviness in their limbs, as though the environment itself presses upon them. Illusion or not, it delivers the sense that the ordinary rules of physics no longer apply. Magnetic hills, cars that roll uphill. One of the most unsettling experiences a traveler can have is to stop a car on what looks like an uphill slope, place it in neutral, and watch as the vehicle begins to roll against gravity. These places, found worldwide, are popularly known as magnetic hills or gravity hills. In Ladakh, India, the famous magnetic hill attracts thousands of tourists who line up to watch their cars seemingly defy Newton's laws. In Moncton, Canada, the same happens on a rural road known simply as Magnetic Hill, now one of the country's most visited attractions. Dozens of other such sites exist, from South Korea to Argentina. The explanation lies in optical illusion. Without a reliable horizon, the landscape tricks the eye into perceiving a downhill slope as uphill. Trees, road angles, and surrounding hills all conspire to invert our sense of incline. But knowing the explanation does little to reduce the strangeness. To sit in a car and watch it drift backward uphill is to feel reality briefly slip its gears. The Devil's Kettle, Minnesota, United States. The Brule River in Minnesota contains a waterfall unlike any other. At one point, the river splits in two. One branch continues downstream as expected, but the other pours into a deep hole in the rock called the Devil's Kettle, and simply vanishes. For decades, no one knew where that water went. Scientists dropped dye, ping-pong balls, logs, and even GPS trackers into the hole, yet nothing reappeared downstream. It was as if the water disobeyed the principle of conservation of matter. Recent studies suggest that the missing branch actually rejoins the river underground, but the exact channels remain hidden. For generations, the Devil's Kettle seemed to mock science itself. A waterfall that swallowed rivers whole. Waterfalls that flow upward. India. In Meghalaya, India, powerful winds during storms create a phenomenon that seems impossible. Waterfalls that flow backward, with sheets of water blown upward into the sky. Standing at the edge, one witnesses torrents of water rising instead of falling, as though gravity has been reversed. Meteorologists explain it as a combination of intense air pressure and velocity overcoming the downward pull of gravity. Yet the sight remains profoundly unsettling. Humans instinctively believe in the constancy of falling water. To watch it climb skyward is to feel the world reversed. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. The world's largest salt flat, Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, covers over 10,000 square kilometers. During the rainy season, it floods with a thin sheet of water, transforming the flat into a perfect mirror. The ground disappears, the horizon vanishes, and sky and land become indistinguishable. Walking across the Salar feels like walking in the sky. People seem to float, reflections stretch endlessly, and distance becomes impossible to judge. Pilots once described the place as disorienting, even from above, as their instruments contradicted what their eyes perceived. Though not a violation of physics, the Salar de Uyuni erases the normal cues by which humans perceive space, creating the impression of an alien world. The Bermuda Triangle. Few regions are as legendary as the Bermuda Triangle, the stretch of Atlantic Ocean bounded roughly by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Over the past century, it has been linked to vanishing ships, lost aircraft, and navigational chaos. Skeptics argue that most disappearances have rational explanations: storms, human error, and shipping density. Still, pilots and sailors have long reported compass malfunctions, sudden cloud banks, and feelings of disorientation. Some speak of seas that appear to boil, or horizons that dissolve into featureless gray. Explanations range from methane gas eruptions destabilizing ships to unusual geomagnetic anomalies that interfere with instruments. Whatever the truth, the Bermuda Triangle has become a global symbol of a place where physics seems to stutter. Reverse rivers and backward flows. Not all rivers obey their expected direction. In parts of Brazil's Amazon basin, seasonal flooding pushes rivers to flow backward for days at a time. Similarly, the Chicago River was famously engineered to flow in reverse, confusing those who first observed it. Even more curious are cases where strong winds push water upstream, as seen in tidal rivers around the world. For an observer, watching a river suddenly reverse its course challenges one of the most basic assumptions about nature: that water always flows downhill. Iceland's lava fields and magnetic chaos. Travelers in Iceland sometimes report compasses spinning erratically in certain volcanic regions. These landscapes, dominated by basaltic lava, contain high concentrations of magnetic minerals. The result is a field that can scramble navigational instruments. To walk there is to feel cut off from one of humanity's oldest tools, direction. When compasses fail, we realize how fragile our sense of order truly is. Iceland's stark black fields, steaming vents, and shifting lights of the aurora above only intensify the impression that one has stepped into a place where normal rules break down. The Hessdalen lights, Norway. In a remote Norwegian valley, strange balls of light have been seen floating in the night sky for decades. These orbs hover, dart, and sometimes streak away at impossible speeds. Unlike typical UFO sightings, the Hessdalen lights have been scientifically observed, photographed, and even measured. One theory suggests they result from plasma formed by ionized dust, while another points to piezoelectric effects from stressed quartz in the mountains. Yet no single explanation has satisfied researchers. The lights appear where they should not exist, moving in ways that defy simple atmospheric physics. Standing in that valley and watching glowing orbs dance silently in the air is to feel that reality has slipped sideways. Crooked Forest, Poland. Near Grafino, Poland, lies a grove of about 400 pine trees, each bending sharply at the base before curving upward again. The result is a forest of trees shaped like giant hooks, all pointing in the same direction. How they formed remains uncertain. Some claim heavy snow bent them when they were saplings. Others suggest human intervention, perhaps an attempt to grow curved timber for shipbuilding. But the uniformity of the bends and their mysterious alignment make the Crooked Forest feel like a place where biology itself has taken on an alien geometry. Lake Natron, Tanzania. Lake Natron is a shallow salt lake with waters so alkaline they can reach a pH of 10.5. Animals that fall into the lake often become calcified, their bodies preserved as if turned to stone. Photographs of perfectly preserved birds, frozen in mid-flight posture, create the chilling impression of a natural Medusa's curse. Chemistry explains it. The lake's sodium carbonate content rapidly desiccates and mineralizes organic tissue. Yet the sight of stone-like animals scattered along the shore feels like something from myth, as if life itself had been petrified in defiance of biology. The everlasting lightning of Catatumbo, Venezuela. Over Lake Maracaibo, a rare phenomenon occurs, lightning that flashes almost continuously, sometimes for 10 hours a night, up to 260 nights a year. Known as the Catatumbo lightning, it creates the illusion of a storm that never ends. Meteorologists attribute it to unique air currents and moisture trapped by surrounding mountains, but for centuries, locals believed it was a beacon of the gods, or even a tear in the sky. To stand on the shores of Lake Maracaibo and see the horizon alive with endless lightning is to believe one has stepped into a world where the atmosphere itself ignores natural limits. The door to hell, Turkmenistan. In the Karakum Desert burns a crater of fire that has raged for over 50 years. Known as the door to hell, it was created when Soviet geologists accidentally set a natural gas field ablaze in 1971. Expecting the fire to burn out in a few weeks, they left it to die down. Instead, the flames still roar today, consuming the earth with unending fire. The sight is uncanny. A glowing pit in the middle of the desert, like a portal to another dimension. It does not defy physics. Natural gas feeds the fire. But to stand at its edge at night, with the heat searing your skin and the desert silent around you, is to feel that you are staring into something beyond the world you know. Conclusion: the fragile edge of reality. In each of these places, the laws of physics remain intact. Gravity still pulls, matter still conserves, light still travels as it should. And yet, our perception of these laws falters. We see rivers vanish, cars roll uphill, lights float in the sky, and waterfalls climb into clouds. Whether explained by optical illusion, rare geology, or atmospheric quirks, these phenomena confront us with a humbling truth. Reality is not always as it seems. The human brain craves order. We rely on fixed assumptions. Water flows downward, trees grow straight, compasses point north. When the world refuses to obey those assumptions, we are reminded how narrow our understanding truly is. Perhaps that is why these places captivate us. They offer not just amusement or wonder, but a glimpse into the limits of human knowledge. Standing in them, we feel the same awe that drove ancient people to speak of gods and spirits. They are proof that even in a world mapped by satellites and measured by physics, mystery still lingers in the folds of Earth.